Welcome to a new episode of Business Beyond the Game. I'm your host, Eric Jackson, and I'm excited to bring a very special guest on the show, someone who has taken the WNBA by storm, and someone who has also been dabbling in her own off-the-court ventures. Pleased to welcome two-time WNBA champion and two-time league MVP, Asia Wilson. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm great. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
Before we get into everything else, Asia, I want to chat about something not basketball related that I know you're proud of. And you're set to drop your book February 6th called Dear Black Girls, How to Be True to You, a look into what it means to be a Black woman in America. Asia, I feel like it's rare for pro athletes, especially in the peak of their careers, to pen a book. What was just the motivation for you behind it?
It was just heavy on my heart. It really was. And when things are heavy on my heart, I'm going to express it. But this was just in a form that others can just kind of get a taste of it. And it was a joy to write. And it was also a joy to read for my audiobook. And I hope everyone loves it as much as I do.
No doubt. How did you manage just like being vulnerable for a book like this, Asia? I'm sure you really had to open up and ponder on some moments that were probably uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was, but I think the people around me kind of made me comfortable enough to be able to speak out and know that, like, I want people to know this side of me. I want them to see that I'm vulnerable and I go through it and I'm human, because I think that's the part that a lot of people miss when it comes to the athlete is they see us on court and they see our trophy cases and they're like, oh my God, their life is beautiful. And it's like, yes, it is, and I'm blessed, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that my stress is diminished and it's not there. So to be able to share that side of me with people, it's definitely been a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you think that's been a misconception about just pro athletes, maybe being happy all the time or successful in money or
Yeah, it definitely is something that people kind of low-key take for granted, I want to say, because they think that we have it all together. It's like, what could possibly be wrong? But there could be absolutely amount of things being wrong, but we know how to kind of maneuver our way through it.
absolutely? And you've been National Player of the Year, MVPs, you've won titles in college, pro level. But where does this book land on your long list of personal accomplishments?
Definitely top three, for sure, because this is just a lot, and especially just being a young girl with dyslexia. It's like, who would have thought that I would be able to write a whole book, let alone a chapter book? So it's been a huge deal with me, and people have been around me, and the people that have read it before and they already have their copy, it just kind of warms my heart a lot. Like, I mean, I know a championship is also great, and it warms my heart as well, but just to see people willing to read about your story and want to learn from it and grow from it, it's truly something special.
Yeah, the book's already getting attention. Gabrielle Union calls it a must read.
Yeah.
In the book, you mentioned some of your early days just growing up in South Carolina. And, as we know, before entering the WNBA, you started at the University of South Carolina, where you helped the Gamecocks win their first title in program history. You left college just before college athletes could profit from their name, image, and likeness. Do you ever look back and you're like, dang, I could have made a couple of dollars?
Yeah, 100%. When it first came out, I was like, dang, I definitely missed that. I would have capitalized on every opportunity that was coming my way in South Carolina. But I guess it's a blessing because God knew I would actually be that way and was like, that's too much for you, girl. Go ahead. So, yeah, like I had my moments where I'm like, dang, that could have been us. But at the same time, I'm blessed because there's no way I would be able to handle that in college because I wouldn't have been able to feel like myself. I would have felt like I'm just like constantly working. So no, power to 'em. Continue to do that. I'm good.
No, that's a good point. Maybe you a blessing in disguise, right? As they say.
For sure.
Asia, you've been signed. You signed endorsement deals with everyone from Nike, Coca-Cola, State Farm, Meta. I'm sure other companies have reached out. What do you look for exactly when it comes to these brand partnerships? Outside of the
Um,
money, right? Of course.
yeah, the companies that allow me to be me and don't let me get lost in the sauce. Like I don't like well, you have to look this way and speak this way and do this. They allow me to really just kind of, they take me and then they're like, okay, let's work around you versus we're dropping you in here, make it work. And I think that's a beautiful thing that my agency and my agent does a great job of selecting people that are good for me and things that I want to do. Because when I want to support it, then you get the full Asia. You get the genuine Asia versus like just putting it on. And people can read that from a mile away. So just to be able to be with people that are caring about me, but also things that I stand for and believe in.
Yeah, help you not get lost in the sauce. From the
Nah.
prophet, Gucci man. The WNBA is experiencing this wave of investment with the Bay Area team set to start playing next year and other notable investors getting into the mix. Asia, how do you balance being happy about this moment, but also not being satisfied about the current state of the league?
I feel like that is just my deal throughout my whole career in the W is yes, I'm happy and I'm blessed and don't get it twisted, but I'm never going to be satisfied. I'm always going to want more. I'm always wanting to shatter that glass ceiling because it's there. But yeah, I'm happy. But at the same time, I don't want to get complacent in that and being like, well, I'm just grateful we have a team. And it's like, no, we have a capability of having a team and then some. So I feel like that's just I'm stuck in that limbo in the world of the W. But I'm grateful. At the same time, I'm excited to see this league continue to grow and just to be a part of it.
Now, if you could be WNBA commissioner for one day, what's one improvement that you would prioritize?
I would say travel. Travel is super big because it's more than just scanning a boarding pass and just getting on the plane. It can be very different if you have appropriate travel. So yeah, that would be one thing that I would make sure that we can just scratch that off and everybody can travel on their own to their destination.
Charter flights, is that what you're?
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. And you're coming off back-to-back titles with the Las Vegas Aces, which opened a brand new one-of-a-kind practice facility last year. How much does just having these strong facilities like make a difference in your opinion? When it comes to excelling on the court and bringing home titles.
Oh, it's a big deal. It's a huge deal because you have your own space to do whatever you need. It has anything you can think of right there, and you can get your job done. You can go in there and do your job in the appropriate way, and you don't have to worry about any outsiders. You don't have to worry about people coming into the gym after you. You can go there any times. We have early birds, we have late nights, runs, anything in between. So yes, I definitely think that it helps us in the long run of having a space that we can go to, and it's ours. Like we can say, this is our shower, this is our
Yeah.
locker, our court. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love it. That's my home away from my home, and I stay in there quite a bit.
Yeah. Would you encourage other owners across the WBA to make that investment if they can, of course?
Yeah, I mean, they should have. It's not if they can, you should. If you made it
Mhm.
this far, you have plenty to give to that. So yeah, I would encourage all to definitely start to pour into that because it's useful no matter what. And your bread is not just going somewhere out of the window. It's going into your players, the team that you're owning and you're working for. So yes, I encourage it for all of them.
And this is business beyond the game, but you've also dabbled. You launched your own podcast with fellow WNBA player Nafisa Koyer called Tea with A and Fee. Do you have wider ambitions of getting deeper into the media world one day and being a content creator yourself?
Nah, I'm sure my I'm sure my people around me want me to, but I can't get down with it. It's a lot of work. A lot of work goes into it. Feel like podcast is the trend now, and I see a lot of people doing it. And I'm like, ooh, I remember those days, like having to constantly just grind out different episodes with different people, and it's like that's a lot. So now I'm saying no, but later on down the road, you never know what could happen because that is just, it seems as if that's where the world is heading to. But
Yeah.
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of things to keep up with. But I'm going to rely on my team for that one.
Definitely, definitely. Maybe commentating. No, one day,
Yeah,
maybe.
I gave that
Kinda.
a run. It was cool, but I still think then is you gotta go and live by this code of like you gotta watch what you say and you gotta talk about everybody. I ain't trying to talk about everybody. I want to talk about people I rock with and who I really love.
Right, right.
In that
Love
case,
that.
I don't know, but you never know. I'm not gonna shut down anything right now.
Gotcha, gotcha. As we wrap here, Asia, you've had a lot of experiences. Obviously, these are included in the book, but also outside of it. And I'm curious if you could just leave us what's the best business lesson that you've learned in your career so far?
Ooh. The best lesson I've learned is that you can't please everybody. And I think that goes on in the business and in real life. You really can't please anyone. I'm literally taking it from somebody that is trying to sell people a scent that they can't smell, but they trust me. And it's a lot of things that people are like, well, I don't like this. Can you take it out of this? And I'm like, no, just move on to another candle. And understanding that that's okay for me to say. And it's hard because you're like, oh, I want to make sure everyone has what they want. But it's like you're never going. No one's ever going to have everything that they want. So that's the lesson that I learned. That kind of struck my heart because I was like, Mom, I want to make a candle for everybody. And she's like, how is that possible? So coming to grips with you can't please everybody. You can only show what you have and hope that people gravitate towards it.
Love that. I love that. I think that's not just good business advice, but I think that's good life advice.
For sure.
Well,
Yeah.
there you have it, folks. From the former number one overall draft pick and one of the league's most decorated players, Asia Wilson. Asia, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.